Welcome back, friends. So, you're watching this video because you are studying fermentation, correct? So, we are dealing with another uh, basic video here. Already a video is uploaded on design of a fermenter where I had discussed about what are all aspects you need to follow, you need to take into the consideration if you are designing a fermenter or you need to construct a fermenter. Okay, so today we are going to discuss that again, as this is regarding understanding a fermenter and types of fermenters here. Okay, so we will not waste any time. Let's start. So this is what you can see here is a representative diagram of a fermenter, which has all the necessary points or ports given, provisions are made so that it can do all the below activities like sterilization, temperature control, pH, foam control, aeration, agitation. Then there is a sampling port given. Then there is a port for inoculation of say media or inoculum. Okay, then there is a drainage port, then from where you can harvest your batch and you can take it down for your fermentation, downstream processing. Okay, then there is facility for cleaning, then there is facility for providing hot and cold water for controlling your temperature and sterilize compressed air. Okay, so these are necessary aspects that one should take in consideration if he or she is designing a fermenter or constructing a fermenter. Okay, so these are very important processes or activities which are important when you start your fermentation, right? The very first is sterilization, and then you need all these controlling elements. Then you need all basic elements like these. Okay, so these are all which you can refer to. So already I had discussed this in the designing of a fermenter, that video, but still if you want to go through, you should know the difference between controlling elements and basic elements. Okay, so these are the basic elements which are there in the fermenter vessel, and these are the one which are present in the fermenter vessel for controlling the parameters. Okay, that's all, that is the difference here. So as controlling elements are present for controlling parameters, the basic elements are required for the actual processing of your fermentation batch, okay, or your fermentation. So now we are going to study some types. Actually, there are some 2 3 more types that you can find on internet. Those are actually slight modifications of these, but there are mainly these 5 types that we are going to study today. Okay, each of these 5 uh, fermenters, they are different in their design and in their use. Okay, so there are advantages and disadvantages that we will study. So let's start. First is stirred tank fermenter. Generally in your course you are first introduced to a stirred tank fermenter because that is the ideal fermenter which you generally study in your college days. Okay, and it is um, it has a representative diagram which a person can remember, it can he or she can memorize and study that. Okay, so very simple. So it consists of a drive motor drive shaft and a variable number of impellers. Okay, so these are impellers and this is the motor drive shaft. Okay, the impellers have 1/3 diameter of the vessel, correct, so that it will give proper agitation. The height and diameter ratio of this bioreactor is between 3:5. Okay, height is 3 and diameter should be 5. So ratio is 3:5. Air passes into the culture medium through a single orifice from the tube attached externally. Okay, so this is the air inlet. It enables better distribution of the contents throughout the vessel. Okay, its basic function includes homogenization, suspension of solid material, aeration into medium, and heat exchange. So in stir tank fermenter, rotating stirrer and baffles are found either at the top or the bottom. It mainly it mainly uses the batch process of fermentation, right? So when you need to take batches of your fermentation for your desired product, you can go for stir tank fermentation. So this is what I was talking before. Okay, so you should know what type of fermentation process you need to follow. On that your fermentation vessel will depend. Okay, the design will depend. So this is the diagram. You can follow this, you can refer to this diagram for your exam purpose as well. Okay, so stir tank fermentation, it has advantages and disadvantages. So advantages are it is easy to operate and easy to clean. It provides good temperature control. The construction of stir tank fermenter is quite simple. It has low operation or operating cost. It does not causes shear damage to cells. Okay, so these were advantages. Now disadvantages are it cannot be used for immobilized cells or enzymes. Okay, it has low volumetric productivity. Okay, so as I said, each or there is no just one ideal fermentation fermenter design that can be used for each and every type of your microbe or your fermentation process. So for stir tank fermentation or stir tank fermenter, you cannot use immobilized cells or enzymes, okay, in this particular design. Next is airlift fermenter. So what is the difference? You can see, you can easily distinguish between the stir tank fermenter and airlift fermenter because the design is completely different. Correct? In stir tank fermenter, the air inlet was from the top. Here, the air inlet is from the bottom, and the gas flow outlet is present at the top. Okay, so how this works? So it consists of a single container inside which a hollow tube is present, in which a hollow tube is present. Okay, so this is a hollow tube. This hollow tube is called as draft tube. Correct? So there is a gas flow inlet present at the bottom of the fermenter which allows the passage of oxygen. As I said, air inlet is at the bottom which allows the passage of oxygen. So gas flow inlet is attached with the perforated disc or tube that allows continuous distribution of air. Okay, so this is the tube which actually permits or it allows the continuous distribution of air into the medium. Okay, so this tube or bioreactor, it lacks the mechanical stirring arrangement for agitation. You will see there is no motor drive shaft or impellers present. Okay, as from the natural airlift, the air lifts the medium upward. Okay, so as the name suggests, airlift means the air will lift the medium upwards. Okay, there are internal liquid circulation channels. Internal liquid, the green lines are ones which we are referring here. Internal liquid circulation channels are present which enables continuous circulatory motion of the medium. Here the fermentation occurs at a fixed rate of volume and circulation. So everything is calculated. The fermentation occurs at a fixed rate of your volume and your circulation. Okay, so even even this particular fermenter has advantages and disadvantages. So let's see first disadvantage. It lacks mechanical stirring arrangement. That is the disadvantage. Then advantages are it consumes less energy. Why? Because there is actually no stirring arrangement required, or there are no other ports that we can see here. So obviously it will help in reducing your energy consumption, and it ensures adequate mixing. It favors the growth of aerobic cultures, right? Because air is used in this particular airlift fermenter, so you cannot go with the anaerobic cultures here. It can also it can use both free and immobilized cells and enzymes. Okay, so for stir tank fermenter this was the disadvantage, but here in airlift fermenter you can use both free and immobilized cells and enzymes. It is widely used in single cell protein production and it avoids excessive heat generation. Okay, so this was about airlift fermenter. Next is fluidized bed fermenter. So again you will see there is a lot of change in diagram as compared to stir tank fermenter. Okay, so the top portion of this bioreactor is more expanded. This expansion reduces the velocity of fluid. Its bottom part is slightly narrow. You can see the top portion is expanded and the bottom part is comparatively narrow to the top part. It is designed in such a way here where the solid retains inside the vessel and fluid flows out. Okay, fluid will flow out. And an adequate amount of gas introduces into the medium to form suitable gas liquid solid fluidized bed. Okay, so there is air inlet, we can see here, through which gas is introduced, and there are heavy polymer catalyst particles present there. These are gas bubbles. Okay, the small blue color are the catalyst particles, then these are the light polymer catalyst particles. Okay, so these were the heavy as they are towards the bottom and the lighter ones are moving towards the top, and from here they will go out. Okay, the liquid flows out. By using this kind of biofermenters, one should note that the suspended particles should not be too light or too heavy, and secondly there should be continuous recycling of the medium for good bioprocessing. Okay, self-explanatory point. So this particular fluidized bed fermenter has advantages like it mixes the content uniformly, as again air is continuously it is introduced. It maintains the uniform temperature gradient. It can be used for continuous operations, produces higher volumetric productivity. There is little or no clogging of particles as continuously air is introduced. Okay, so this was about fluidized bed fermenter. So mainly your gas and the fluid or the medium is inside the bed. Okay, so that is why it is known as gas liquid solid fluidized bed. Correct? So a fluidized bed fermenter. Next is about packed bed fermenter. Again, you can see very different diagram and very different design. So it consists of a cylindrical vessel and a packed bed with biocatalyst. Packed bed with biocatalyst. You can see here downside, this is the medium, this is packed bed with biocatalyst, and your product is getting produced here. This is the way where nutrient broth is added. Okay, so the solid matrix for for the packed bed fermenter possesses the following properties. Okay, so the packed bed fermenter, the biocatalyst, okay, it should be porous or non-porous, depends depending on your product. Okay, then highly compressible and rigid. In this kind of biofermenter, a nutrient broth continuously flows over the immobilized catalyst. Okay, so nutrient broth will keep coming from this input or this port, and it will be flowing over the biocatalyst. Okay, immobilized biocatalyst. So after that, a product releases into the fluid at the bottom of the culture vessel, and finally it can be removed. Okay, so here all the reactions or process will take place, and the product is continuously secreted into the liquid. So the product will go and settle down towards the bottom, and from there you can take out your product for your downstreaming. Okay, so this is about packed bed fermenter. So just remember that in case of packed bed fermenter you use biocatalyst. Okay, and they have some properties like they can be porous or non-porous depending on your product, depending on your culture, and they are or they actually they are highly compressible and they are rigid. Okay, so this fermenter also has advantages and disadvantages. So advantages are like it has a low operation cost, provides continuous operation, then separation of the biocatalyst is actually easy, it is widely used in wastewater engineering. Okay, then disadvantages are there are undesired heat gradients, poor temperature control, there is an alteration in bed porosity. Okay, means biocatalyst, the bed porosity may get altered after some time, involves higher risk of particle clogging. Okay, so these were disadvantages, and we are moving towards the last type, that is photo fermenter. So this fermenter works under the principle of light energy that involves direct exposure to the sunlight or through some artificial illumination. It is extensively used to produce um, carotene, carotene, then astaxanthin, etc. This type of bioreactor is basically made of glass or plastic. Okay, so the design can be any. You can use multiple parallel tubes or continuous run tubular loop anyhow. Okay, so the photoreactor consists of a single container or number of tubes or panels. Tubes act as solar light receiver or trappers. In this, culture transfer through solar traps with the help of centrifugal pump. Inside photo fermenter, adequate penetration of sunlight is maintained, and after that it is cooled where when there is a rise in temperature. Okay, so simply I will explain it like the setup is uh, exposed to sunlight or to a artificial illuminator. It is actually used for algae or cyanobacteria, okay, where CO2, for example, CO2 is passed through the water or through the medium, and even the setup is exposed to the sunlight or artificial illumination. Okay, so what happens during the daytime or during the time where it is exposed to the light, the biochemical processes they take place and the product is formed during the night. Okay, so this is how the photo fermenter it actually works. Okay, so here you may get confused little bit, but try to be with me here. Okay, so here the microalgae or cyanobacteria are commonly used microbes. Okay, these microorganisms grow in the presence of solar light and then the product forms during the night. Okay, so advantages are it gives higher productivity, produces a large surface and volume ratio. It provides large surface and volume ratio, provides better control over the gas transfer, maintains uniform temperature gradient. Okay, and disadvantages are expensive method to carry out. You need uh, you need to keep eye on the maintenance. So there are some technical difficulties that the process in say process of fermentation, process of sterilization, where it is bit tricky to handle. Okay, so this was about the photo fermenter, and yeah, we are done with today's topic. So I hope you like my videos, you share my videos with your friends, and do subscribe to my channel, and also recommend them to subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. Okay, I hope this video was helpful. So all the best, keep up your good work and keep supporting me. Thank you.